What is up, guys? We're here live inside of the Art of Hip Hop Museum in the Nucleus Winwood studio. And I'm excited because I just bumped into an amazing individual. We just started shooting the shit, learned some really cool stuff that you're doing, your hobbies, your passion. Introduce yourself, Steven.
All right, my name is Steven. I go by the name of Keds, Keds Dam Crew. I'm Miami's old school OG graffiti artist. I've been writing graffiti since 1986. I joined Dam Crew in 1989, and I've been an active graffiti writer for over 36 years. Putting up my name, my crew, painting around, all over the country, and obviously, in other places in the world. And I love it. It's my passion. It's what I do. It's what drives me to be an artist and to put my name out there. That's what graffiti's all about. Putting your name out there and obviously the rebellious form of art. You know what I mean? Because that's what graffiti is.
So I gotta ask you because, seeing how graffiti first started to where it's at today, you said you've been doing this for 36 years.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest shift that you've seen, that you could say one big shift since graffiti started, from when you started doing graffiti to where you see it now and the way you're doing it now? What would you say is that number one biggest shift that you've seen?
The biggest shift that I've seen right now, I think, and every other graffiti artist has seen it as well, is that it's an accepted art form. Prior to that, we were looked at or looked down upon rather as vandals. We were looked at as like, oh wow, these graffiti kids are, thugs or like delinquents, etc. or whatever, hoodlums. We're not. Most of the kids that painted graffiti are actually didn't join gangs. We tried to do other things. Yeah, we were painting out at night illegal, but we were doing artwork. You know what I mean? We're not out there selling drugs. We're not robbing an old lady and taking her purse. We were doing none of that. We were creating. You know what I mean? Doing something that not anybody could do. Because I can tell people all the time, oh cool, if you're a graffiti artist, here you go. Here's 5 spray cans. Show me what you got. I guarantee you they're not going to be able to do it. So I think that now we gotten to a point that graffiti is mainstream. It's a world phenom. It's gotten so global that you have it in music videos, you have it in commercials. People are using it in their clothing. For crying out loud, you got Gucci and Louis and these companies that are using it on their purses to sell, to market graffiti. So we've made it to, I would say, to a point or a plateau rather, that we're at a stage that graffiti is an accepted form and the people love it. And you know what? I couldn't be happier because it got to the point now that before I was looked down upon because people would call me, oh yeah, this and that or whatever. And now it's like, hey, can you come to my store? I need you to paint. I got this job for you. So now I'm doing commercial art, I'm doing murals, I'm doing walls, I'm doing shirts, I'm doing design, and so many other things that are great, and I appreciate it because now it's to the point that people actually love graffiti. They accepted it. It's a great form, and it's awesome because now we're actually making money, and that's also important, to the craft writers because we put in the work. I mean, I painted it for so many years and never got a dime for it, and this last year alone, I did 5-6 murals, and each wall was 5-10 grand, so that's that's an extra side gig for me, you know what I mean?
What
A
you
job,
love.
yeah, and doing right what you love, which is most important. You can't beat that. You can't put a price tag on that,
Now I gotta ask you though, now that you're saying people are accepting it, it's putting itself in the level of being looked at as an actual piece of art when you go somewhere,
Yeah.
and it's all over the world. Do you feel like there was a different edge though to it back in the day when it wasn't accepted? Do you feel like it was just like there was a rush, there was like a high off of it?
Absolutely.
There was like something more unique about it than the way it
course.
is now. Not saying it's not.
No, agreed.
But explain that.
Okay, so real simple. Back in the days, between 86, and that's when I started painting in 86, 80 to 89. That was like my beginning stages, right? People didn't even know graffiti existed in Miami. People were like, oh, New York, obviously LA and Philly and other states in the country, but there was a graffiti movement going on here. It was very underground. And it was different because not only if you knew about it, you knew that people were actually painting graffiti at this time and age in Miami, and they were like, whoa, how? Well, there was these, what we call abandoned places, buildings that we called tenants. And these were the places where we would go and it was an underground movement. We were painting illegal at night, and it was that rush that you feel that you could go out there and do something, get away with it. I mean, I can say this now because they're not gonna come and arrest me, but I painted the Metro Rail in 1994. You know me, and shout out to my brother Freak. You know, I give him a plug from Damn Crew, and we painted it back then when people were like, "Oh my God, you know, no one's painting the Metro Rail." I'm like, "Yeah, we did it," you know. So it was illegal, of course it was, and you know, and obviously, you know, we weren't supposed to be doing it, but that's why we did it, because it was a rebellious art form, and that's what graffiti is about. I tell people all the time now, you know what? It's cool to go out there and paint and do these nice murals and get paid for it. But the essence of graffiti is when it started, you know, in the early 70s, you know, until now, graffiti artists were kids that lived in the, you know, urban areas, the ghettos, whatever you want to call it. And this was their express of freedom. This is their expression that they went out there and could do these things and put their name out there so people could be like, oh, wow, did you see that on the train? And then that's how I got into graffiti. You know, this kid from school brought Subway Art. That book came out, it's called the Graffiti Bible, right, for a reason. That was the first book published by Martha Cooper. And, you know, it showed pictures of graffiti from New York City on the trains. I was probably 12 years old in 1986 when I saw the book. The book came out prior to that, like in 82, I think, or 83. And that moved me. It like opened some, I already drew already. I was an artist, but when I saw the book, I was like, bro, this is incredible. These people are painting on trains. And then I was like, you know, I mean, I was already, you know, Saturday morning cartoons, doodling and drawing, you know, like, you know, cartoon characters, etc. But not on that scale, right? Because this is like, wow, people are using, you know, spray paint to do, you know, murals and stuff like that, you know, well, graffiti. And it moved me, it touched me, and I was like, you know, this is what I want to do. So I started painting, and then of course, like everybody, when you start off, you're not good, you know what I mean? We're called, you know, what they call a toy, till you build your style. You get better and better. The more you paint, the better you get. I kept practicing until I finally started getting better, and then by 1989, that's when I joined Damn Crew. And by the way, so the people that know, you know, the people that listeners that are out there, Damn Crew is the oldest Miami graffiti crew. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of old school crews in Miami that's painted in the 80s, even before us, you know, 85, 86. We started in 89. But we're the only crew that has been painting since 1989 and have never taken a hiatus. We've never taken a break. We've never stopped painting. There's a lot of crews that came and gone. Haven't painted for 10, 20 years. And then when Art Basel came around, you know, 2010 and then 2015, they're like, oh, we're going to paint graffiti again. Nah.
You guys kept it
we
real.
kept it real all the way through. So, and we have pics to prove it. So when people ask me, I'm like, you know what? I can show you my catalog. I don't need to, you know what I mean? So that's another thing too, documentation. I've been painting graffiti for such a long time, and I've always taken pictures. Back in the days, we didn't have social media. You didn't have a phone. You didn't have a fancy, you know, cameras. We had the little wind-up Kodak, and that's what I did. I would go to, you know, back then it wasn't Walgreens, it was Eckerd. So I would go grab, you know, one of those little wind-up Kodaks, and I would take it with me everywhere I went, and that's how I documented my pictures, and that's how I have photos of all the graffiti I painted throughout the years. And then now, show people, you're like, oh, well, you know, did you really paint? Yeah, here you go. And I can show you the work. And people are like, wow, you know? So it's a good feeling because, you know, people, they respect you. You know what I mean? They're like, wow, man, I had no idea, you know, that, like, if you just talk to somebody, you meet them, they're like, they don't know until you actually tell them, this is what I do. This is my passion. This is what moves you. I painted for so many years, and thank God, knock on wood, I never got arrested. And I did a lot of illegal pieces, so I'm very fortunate and blessed about that. Can't say the same for my old, you know, Damn Crew brothers, because a lot of them got roped, but nonetheless, we never stopped painting. I never took a break. I did take a break 3 years ago. I had a little bit of health issues. I had a lung transplant. They gave me 6 months to live. I almost died. I got diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis during the pandemic. I got the alpha COVID pneumonia that almost killed me. So both of my lungs were gonna get a double transplant, but they only did the left lung. The right lung, I still have fibrosis. So, you know, I take good care of myself. Obviously, I made it. They told me, look, if we don't get you a transplant in 6 months, we can only keep you comfortable. So when I heard those words, I was like, wow, you know what? I never lost faith. I never stopped believing. I kept, you know what I mean? That God would spare my life. And I'm blessed and fortunate enough that I'm still here 3.5 years later. And I'm painting and I'm doing what I love.
You're telling your story.
And I'm telling my story. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of people that don't know. So I tell them all the time, I'm like, listen, don't ever lose hope. Don't ever lose faith. Because just when you think it's all over, miracles happen. You know what I mean? I'm one of them. You know what I mean? So maybe that's my story. I don't know. You know, I tell people all the time, they're like, man, you're here for a reason. I'm like, I know, you know, whatever the purpose is, but I'm going to continue to spread my story and tell people, hey, you're feeling down? Don't. Be grateful, man. You're alive. You can breathe oxygen. You wake up every day. You have food on the table. You have a place to sleep. And you got a job. Guess what? You're blessed.
Yeah.
All right? And some people don't take, they take that for granted.
You're in the 1% of the world.
That's it. You know what I mean? Whether you're rich or not, don't worry about all that. You have that. There's some people that don't even have that. You know what I mean? So be grateful and keep going. You know, whatever drives you, whatever's your passion, whatever you love, do that. And when you do that, believe it or not, you're gonna be happy. That's what keeps me happy. I'm gonna be 50 in October. I don't feel a day over 25, bro. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, granted, I get a little bit, my back and aches, you know, when I paint and I do these 6-7 hour, you know, graffiti productions, but that doesn't stop me or defer me from doing what I love, you know what I'm saying? And it's not going to. People are like, damn, you're gonna take a break? I'm like, no, I'm gonna turn 50 and I'm gonna go to home. I'm gonna keep going.
No hiatus here.
No hiatus here, you know what I mean? It's what, you know, if that's what you love and that's your passion, and I tell people all the time, do that. Because at the end of the day, bro, that's all we have. In this time, there's two things that money can't buy, and that's time, okay, and that's health. If you lose those two things, you have nothing. So enjoy what you have, live in the time and space in this moment, because it's a blessing. You're here, and then everything else will come. Just be happy. You got a lot to be grateful for. You know what I'm saying? And then people are like, damn, man, that's a good way to look at it. I'm like, hey, maybe I'm here just to tell you that, because maybe you're having a shitty day. I don't know. But it can't be all that bad. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, you know what? Thanks, Keds. I needed that. You know? So at least try to look at a positive outlook as much as you can, because then nothing's gonna be great. I get it. You know, it happened to me, man. I went through this, and people thought, I had friends that told me, man, I'm sorry, please don't take this the wrong way, but I thought you were gonna die. Like, this, you know, the survival rate of someone getting a lung transplant is not good. It's like a 30% chance after you get it, you get a rejection, you die. So the guy that got the right lung, he was in ICU with me, he died 3 months after. You know what I mean? And here I am going on 3.5 years. So there's no guarantee, but you take what you have and go on with it. Be grateful, man. Live in the moment, because tomorrow's not promised. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy that I get to paint, because that was the point that my transplant team was like, you might not be able to paint again, Steven. I'm like, well, I still want to paint. All right, well, you know what? Use a mask. I protect myself. So every time I paint, you know what I mean? I'm gonna make sure that my lungs are taken care of, and I use gloves, long sleeves. I do everything I can to keep myself safe. And I don't stop. I just keep going, you know. So I'm happy. I get to put my artwork out there. People enjoy it, you know. And I do it for myself. You know what I mean? That's what keeps me happy. That's what I love, you know.
Yo, Steven, I appreciate you sharing your story, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. I definitely know that the moment this touches the social media platforms, that we're definitely gonna hear some voices coming out there and really enjoying your story.
That's
and
great, man.
Can't wait to get that feedback from the audience.
Sure, of course.
But as we're wrapping it up, I want to ask you. You know, we talked about, you know, the way that graffiti is getting accepted now versus before.
Yeah.
We also talked about how there was an edge, the rebellious art back in the day.
Yeah.
We talked about your journey, your story. You know, we talked about your crew, how you're one of the ones that didn't get arrested, luckily. You know,
very fortunate.
Talking about, you know, faith, talking about God, talking about, you know, your transplant. You know, there's something to be said with this whole conversation, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I want to ask you one more thing.
Of course.
You know, for you, the way you see graffiti now, what is one thing that you would like to see change in the graffiti industry? I would call it an industry now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a multi-million, even billion-dollar industry, because people are getting paid.
What would you like to see change that right now you think is a negative impact right now for graffiti, and what's something that you would like to see, or what's something that you would say is besides it being accepted, was another positive component of the way graffiti is being handled right now? So a negative that you want to see change, and something else that's positive about it to close it off.
So the negative, right off the bat, I will tell you, and I think a lot of artists feel the same way, is what we call culture vultures. There's a lot of them out there. So you go out, you put your artwork, you do a wall, you paint something beautiful, they come around, they'll take a picture of it, they'll put it on a shirt, and they'll sell it. They won't give you credit. They won't even give you a dime. They won't even acknowledge the fact that you did it. And then they're over here selling it on Etsy or on these other platforms, and then they're pretending it like it's their work, and it's not. So that we have a lot of. We have people out there that they don't even give you respect. They don't even know who you are. They just saw your artwork and they went and, you know what I mean? And then they saw your painting and they're like, oh, this looks great. Let me stand in front of here and show off my model. And then I know a lot of friends of mine that are artists that they use their artwork in the backdrop without their consent. Mind you, we're not dumb like we were kids anymore. I have an attorney. If you use my artwork without my consent, I'm gonna come, and get my legal counsel. So, and that's the other thing that, we don't like about people coming in and try to take from our art form without helping the artist, or hey, I used some of your work. Do you mind here? Let me cut you a check, or can I give you some, something? But do that. You know what I mean?
Ask.
At least ask.
Let's say if it's even somebody who's maybe don't have the funds, but at least has a courtesy to say,
The
hey,
courtesy.
look, I
Chances
don't have
are,
the money right now.
You're right. I might be like, hey, man,
this is
what?
my platform. I have
Yeah.
this. I would love to.
I got you. And
change
and you work
exposure
with
or-
them, of course, just to get exposure. I've done
it's a
so many
courtesy.
things, of course. And that, at least the writer or the artist deserves that. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people that won't even do that. So that's the only one of the negative things I don't like about, you know what I mean, that were some of the things that we're at with. And then another positive outlook, I would say things like this, like the Museum of Graffiti, the Hip Hop Museum. Places like this keep the culture alive. The preservation of the essence of this, of showing you stuff from 1970 all the way to 2025. They're giving you literally timelines, okay, of how hip hop, which is graffiti, breakdancing, MCing, DJing, has evolved. And this has the whole world. Everybody's doing it. Now everybody's a DJ, everybody's breakdancing, everybody's painting graffiti, everybody's doing even this podcast. It's super huge. The platform has grown and it's helped people. And you can't beat that, bro. That's fantastic, because now we're on a different level. You know what I mean? And that's what you want. You want to reach the masses. You want people to know, hey, come check out this place.
Facts.
This is an amazing venue. That's why I can't, give enough shout out and love to Allison and Kat, and Lexi from the museum, because, I work, not only directly with them as an artist, but, from the streets. They keep the artists and the writers from the community that are originally from Miami, and they'll give them exhibitions. They'll give them little shows to do and things like that. So they give back to the community. They help with kids, charitable events. All these things matter, because, you know what I mean? Like, you're helping people learn. And that's what it's about, learning about everything that's going on in the culture. A lot of people don't know, man. If you come in here, you could be here for hours just looking, and you're like, wow, I didn't know that was that, or who did that, or who drew that, or who painted that, or that person did that song, or that record that was painted by this so-and-so artist. So all these things are important. And the most important thing is that they're documenting it.
Oh, yeah.
So now, like right now, where me and you're documenting this is going to be, people are going to hear it and see it, and then it's going to last a lifetime, because now, you know what I mean?
It's digital real estate.
Correct. So it's important. And that, to me, you can't put a price on that. You know what I mean? That's amazing, dude. And I'm so happy that it's gotten to that point.
Yeah.
You got to keep it going. And we're not going to. I'm telling you, there ain't no stopping anytime soon. As long as the people can continue to support this culture and this craft and whatever it is that you do, we're going to keep it alive for another 50. Why not? If hip hop made it to 50, why not get it to 100?
100%.
And just keep it going. Because if you think about it, kids in Japan, in Switzerland, in Germany, everywhere, you know what I mean? Hawaii, wherever, South America, I was in Colombia, and the hip hop scene is crazy over there. Kids are walking around with boom boxes, freestyling on the street.
It's like sports, man. Look,
Yeah.
look at when basketball,
Yeah.
when Jordan impacted the whole world.
Oh my God,
and then
yeah.
look what it did internationally.
Internationally.
Kobe as well. Like Kobe was a huge impact, especially in Asia.
Oh my God, yeah.
So it's like you see these things that happen and create these movements, and then it impacts not only here but the world.
The world.
So it's like exactly what you're saying
incredible.
with China, all these
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, man,
So,
and it's
dude,
beautiful,
I love
man.
it,
It's good stuff, man. So keep all of this alive, keep it going, keep people learning, because at the end of the day, that's all we're doing. You know what I'm saying? The more you know, the more you learn, the more knowledge, and the better it is.
more you grow.
Because you grow. So
Love that.
yeah, man, this is great, man. I'm glad that you were able to have me today. I feel good. I'm glad we were able to, chop it up a little bit and, talk about my story, and also, talk about these things that, I think matter, that
Definitely.
people should know about. You know what I'm saying? Because
Definitely.
we're a tight-knit community. If you notice that about people in the art industry or in the hip hop community, whether it's DJs or artists or MCs or even photographers, whatever, or people like this that are doing, podcasts, etc. Everybody is trying to help support each other, and that's important. You know what I mean? To motivate each other, to keep it going, because at the end of the day, that's all we got. If you don't, then guess what? It dies. And then so what are we doing it for?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Nah, man, we got to keep it going.
Amen to that. Where can people find you, connect with you? Shout out.
You can find me on, I'm under Instagram at Keds, KEDS, Dam Crew, CREW 727, at Keds Dam Crew 727 on Instagram. I'm also have on Facebook. You can find me there also through my IG, or under Stephen Reyes, Keds Rock, if I'm not mistaken. And then also too, if you need to hit me up for artwork or anything, you can go to Keds Rock, KEDZROC at Yahoo. That's my Yahoo, and that's my personal, to hit me up if you want, any type of artwork, murals, shirts, any type of commercial work. I'll do it all. I don't just do graffiti, but whatever it needs, let me know, man. I'm down to work with you, and I'm down to help you, any way I can. And, of course, I try to work with people with affordable prices. Don't think I'm like, oh, just because I've been painting for 36 years, I'm going to charge you. No, I don't do that. I ask you, the first question is, what's your budget? And I'm willing to work with you to help you out, because at the end of the day, we all need that help. I was that person on the other side that needed that, and push. So I want to do it and give back as well.
Love that.
Amen.
Guys, you heard it right here live inside of the Nucleus Winwood studio in the Art of Hip Hop Museum. What an amazing time.
Shout out to the Art of Hip Hop.
Pleasure, brother.
Likewise. Thank you so much,
Till
man,
next
for having
time.
me.
Let's get it.